Sarah is a quiet woman, deeply in love with art, with a gentle and captivating beauty. At 35, she has worked for many years in a small but well-known gallery in the heart of the city, where paintings and artworks are not just her job, but her passion and refuge. Since she was a child, Sarah has felt a special connection to colors and light, as though they were a language through which she could express emotions too difficult to put into words. She often spends hours studying paintings, analyzing every line, every hue, losing herself in the peaceful world she has always sought. Sarah has been through a few relationships, but no one has ever truly understood the sensitivity and depth of her soul. She yearns for a genuine and deep connection, yet the more she searches, the lonelier she feels. Over time, Sarah has created a private space for herself, a place where she can live with her love for art and forget the complications of life. She has grown withdrawn, content with the tranquility of her small apartment filled with books and plants, where it's just her and the artworks. For Sarah, love has become a luxury, something beautiful but seemingly out of reach. Emma, on the other hand, is the complete opposite of Sarah. She is a 33-year-old woman, lively, strong, and full of energy. Working in the media industry, Emma is always on the move, from one event to the next, meeting new people, and constantly embracing new experiences. Her career is a series of challenges that she enjoys, and she finds joy in exploring herself through every success and failure. Emma has never had a same-sex relationship, but she is never afraid to explore and experiment. For her, life is a long journey, and every person she meets adds color to the painting of her life. She firmly believes that love can come from anywhere, at any time. Emma has had a few short, passionate relationships, but they often don't last because of her free-spirited nature, which makes it hard for her to settle down. Despite her confident, outgoing exterior, sometimes Emma feels empty, as though something is missing. On nights when she returns alone to her small apartment in the heart of the city, gazing at the lights from the surrounding buildings, she feels lonelier than ever. She understands that she longs for a deep, genuine love, but in her busy life, Emma has yet to find someone who makes her want to stop, open up, and stay by their side for the long term. Each woman, in her own little world, lives a full but quiet life. Sarah immerses herself in the world of art and finds peace in paintings, while Emma explores the bustling rhythm of life, but sometimes feels the absence of intimacy. Neither of them knows that in the not-so-distant future, fate will bring them together, and their meeting will change their lives forever. The art exhibition on a fall afternoon at Sarah's small gallery attracted many art lovers. The space was filled with soft laughter and gentle conversations, the warm light from the lamps illuminating each painting and highlighting the subtlety of the artworks. Sarah moved around the room, chatting with the guests who shared her passion for art. Though she was attentive to her visitors, her mind seemed to linger on the pieces hanging on the walls, as if they were fragments of her own soul. Amid the crowd strolling through the gallery, Emma appeared. With her bright eyes and confident smile, she immediately drew the attention of those around her. Emma was conversing with a companion while enthusiastically observing the exhibit, her gaze drifting over the paintings and their vivid details. Suddenly, a landscape painting bathed in the soft golden light of sunset caught her eye, compelling her to stop and study its depth. On the opposite side of the painting, Sarah was also absorbed in the work. She didn't notice Emma's arrival until their eyes met by chance. Sarah was mildly surprised, and for a moment, the two exchanged a friendly glance. Emma smiled softly, while Sarah responded with a slight, warm nod. The crowd continued to move, and soon, both Emma and Sarah were swept into conversations with other guests. Emma chatted animatedly with a few friends, occasionally laughing loudly at some funny stories. Yet, even in the midst of the conversation, her gaze would unconsciously drift toward Sarah, wondering who the quiet, serene woman was. Though Sarah always maintained a composed demeanor, she couldn't help but feel her gaze occasionally flicker toward Emma. While answering a question from a guest, she subtly turned to glance at Emma. Her sharp eyes, her radiant smile made Sarah's heart beat a little faster. Flustered, Sarah tried to focus on the conversation, but she felt drawn to the mysterious woman across the room. As the crowd began to thin, Emma decided to approach the landscape painting that had captivated her for so long. She stood for a moment, studying it as though she wanted to take in every detail. Sarah also moved closer, ready to share some insight with the guest. But when she realized the person before her was Emma, she paused, taken by surprise. After a brief moment, she gently broke the silence. "What do you think of this painting?" Emma turned to her eyes lighting up with excitement. "I really love how the light is used here. It gives a feeling of tranquility and warmth." Her voice was soft, yet sincere, causing Sarah to smile in return. They continued discussing the painting, sharing thoughts about the story behind each brushstroke. As Sarah bent down to point out a detail in the artwork, her hand inadvertently brushed against Emma's. In that instant, time seemed to slow. A warmth and familiarity spread through their hearts. Sarah lifted her gaze, meeting Emma's eyes, and both of them paused, silently acknowledging the unexpected connection. Neither of them rushed to move away. The conversation flowed on, stretching beyond the crowd in a space that felt somehow quieter, as if it were just the two of them. Despite the surrounding chatter, Sarah and Emma seemed lost in their own world, where their glances and silences spoke louder than any words. When the exhibition came to an end, they parted ways with a soft, lingering feeling. They walked away, but both carried within them emotions they had never experienced before, as if they had just discovered a missing piece of their hearts. After the exhibition, neither Sarah nor Emma could stop thinking about each other. Both were haunted by the memories of the glances, smiles, and the subtle gestures they had exchanged in that brief, quiet moment amidst the crowd of strangers. Sarah, normally reserved and cautious, didn't quite understand why she had been so easily drawn to the stranger. Emma, on the other hand, with her outgoing and energetic personality, never expected her heart to stir so deeply after such a short encounter. A few days after the exhibition, Emma decided to send Sarah a message. In her text, she thanked Sarah for the special evening and confessed that their conversation had left her with many thoughts. Sarah replied, surprised by the sincerity and warmth in Emma's words. From that moment, they began exchanging messages daily. What started as simple chats about art and life slowly turned into more personal exchanges. One evening, after receiving an invitation from Emma, Sarah decided to break through her hesitation and agreed to meet her at a small cafe. The cafe was tucked away on a quiet corner, with warm golden light and lush green plants. Sarah arrived early, choosing a table by the window and watching the tiny raindrops cling to the glass, her heart fluttering with a mix of excitement and nervousness. Emma appeared, wearing a thick beige coat, her bright smile like sunlight melting the chill of autumn. As soon as she saw Sarah, she laughed out loud and walked over, wrapping Sarah in a gentle hug as if they had known each other for years. Sarah was a little taken aback, but quickly found comfort in the embrace. The two sat across from each other, chatting about everything from everyday matters to their more personal interests. Emma shared stories of her travels, the new places she'd discovered, while Sarah listened intently, hanging on every word. In that moment, Sarah felt alive, connected to the world around her through Emma's warmth and passion. In return, Emma was captivated by Sarah's gentleness, elegance, and the depth she exuded. She kept trying to make Sarah laugh and feel at ease, as if making Sarah happy would warm her own heart. At one point, when their conversation paused, they fell into a quiet moment, simply gazing at each other. Sarah cleared her throat, offering a shy smile, but unwilling to break the stillness. Emma reached out and gently touched Sarah's hand, as if to reassure her. This touch wasn't accidental like their first meeting. It was a deliberate, sincere connection. Sarah felt her heart race, a strange but comforting sensation. She never thought she could open up to someone so quickly, but with Emma, everything seemed effortless. It felt as though she had found a kindred spirit, someone who could understand and share things with her that she had never been able to express before. In the following weeks, Sarah and Emma spent more and more time together. They often met in quiet places, small cafes, or parks where they could talk freely. One day, as they were strolling along the riverbank in the afternoon, Emma suddenly stopped, looking at Sarah with a thoughtful expression. "Sarah, have you ever thought about love?" Emma asked, her voice soft but carrying a deep weight. Sarah felt her heart race, a strange but comforting sensation. She never thought she could open up to someone so quickly, but with Emma, everything seemed effortless. It felt as though she had found a kindred spirit, someone who could understand and share things with her that she had never been able to express before. In the following weeks, Sarah and Emma spent more and more time together. They often met in quiet places, small cafes, or parks where they could talk freely. One day, as they were strolling along the riverbank in the afternoon, Emma suddenly stopped, looking at Sarah with a thoughtful expression. "Sarah, have you ever thought about love?" Emma asked, her voice soft but carrying a deep weight.
Sarah paused, her gaze drifting toward the river. She hesitated, trying to find the right words to express her feelings. "I've thought that love is something very beautiful, but also very distant. I'm not sure I'm brave enough to step into it." Emma didn't respond right away. She looked at Sarah for a long moment, then gently took her hand. "Love isn't always something grand or perfect, Sarah. Sometimes just feeling comfortable and at peace with someone, that's love, too." Sarah looked at Emma. Her heart seemed to skip a beat. In that moment, she realized that Emma wasn't someone she could easily forget. On the contrary, she felt a longing to keep this woman close, to explore the world that Emma had begun to open up to her. As time passed, their relationship grew deeper. They never officially called each other lovers, but both understood that something special was developing between them. One day, Emma suggested Sarah come to her apartment. Sarah agreed, a mix of excitement and anticipation swirling inside her. That evening, Sarah arrived at Emma's apartment. Emma's home was small yet cozy, with soft lighting and potted plants scattered around, giving the space a warm, inviting atmosphere. A gentle herbal scent wafted from an essential oil diffuser placed on the table, adding to the sense of tranquility. Emma had prepared a simple yet elegant dinner, with red wine, candles, and dishes she had lovingly cooked herself. The two sat across from each other, talking in the warm ambience. Sarah felt that the atmosphere between them was somehow different from all their previous meetings. There was something more intimate, more personal. As their conversation began to slow, they fell into a comfortable silence, but it wasn't awkward. Instead, it was a silence filled with warmth and connection. Emma gazed deeply into Sarah's eyes, a soft smile playing at the corners of her lips. Emma reached out, gently tracing her finger along Sarah's cheek, her touch light and affectionate. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the warmth of that delicate touch, her heart beating faster. Emma softly caressed her cheek, her finger gliding over the smooth skin, tender like a whispered word. The sensation made Sarah forget all her worries and hesitation. "Your hair is so soft," Emma murmured, her gentle eyes never leaving Sarah's face. She raised her hand and softly ran her fingers through Sarah's silky strands, each gesture filled with tenderness. Sarah lifted her gaze to meet Emma's, feeling as though the entire world had disappeared, leaving only the two of them in that small, warm room. Under the soft glow of the lamps, Emma slowly moved closer. Sarah felt Emma's breath just inches away from her own, the sweet, soothing scent of her making Sarah feel lost in the moment. Without a word, Emma gently lifted Sarah's chin, then leaned down to press a kiss to her lips. Emma's lips were soft, kissing Sarah with a gentle touch that felt like a passing breeze, but full of affection. Sarah closed her eyes, surrendering to the peaceful sensation Emma brought with her. The first kiss was tender, hesitant, then gradually deepened, becoming more passionate. Emma cupped Sarah's face in her hands, her fingers lightly brushing her skin, sending waves of emotion through Sarah. Sarah placed her hand on Emma's shoulder. feeling the strength and warmth radiating from her. The two of them were caught in a flow of emotions, their lips merging in a harmonious and passionate rhythm. After a moment, Emma slowly pulled back, but stayed close, her eyes still locked on Sarah's. "Sarah, I really like you," Emma said, her voice soft yet full of meaning. "Being with you, I feel like I can be myself. I don't have to try or hide anything." Sarah listened intently to Emma's words, feeling her heart melt with every syllable. She nodded softly, overcome with emotion. "I feel the same way, Emma. Thank you for being here with me, for opening your heart to me," Sarah said, her voice gentle but filled with feeling. Emma embraced Sarah, tenderly caressing her back, each gesture soothing and protective as if she were holding the woman she cherished. Sarah rested her head on Emma's shoulder, listening to the steady beat of her heart, feeling the peace she had never known before. She felt as though she were sinking into a new world, one where warmth and love were all around her. They sat together in silence, enjoying the unspoken connection between them. Emma gently stroked Sarah's hair, the sensation of her soft locks slipping through her fingers making her reluctant to let go. Sarah closed her eyes, savoring the tenderness from Emma. This was a moment she would never forget, a moment she had longed for but never expected to find with this woman. The warmth they shared wasn't just physical proximity, it was a meeting of souls. Both of them understood that this wasn't just a fleeting moment, but the beginning of something deeper, something more sincere.